Missing ice cream truck. What are kids doing these days? Thank God I did not freaking move to Jersey. I have you heard the news? Missing ice cream truck in Hackensack? Hackensack? I don't know how to pronounce that. This is why I say New York, because it's New York City, NYC, as simple as that. Hackensack? I don't know how to pronounce that. Okay, okay, enough with the joke. Hey everyone, Joe here from ActionX. This is What's in the Two. ActionX's show where we talk about all things in the world of television. Normally we're doing episode by episode reviews of shows currently on the air, season by season reviews of shows that are currently either very long ahead of the curve or have wrapped up, or doing these first impressions, which basically I describe it as a pilot episode for a potential review series. Today we're talking about Chucky, the brand new sci-fi show that also is a continuation of the original Child Play movie, not the 2019 reboot, which according to my dad said was boring. I still haven't seen the reboot yet because I just look. I love Mark Hamill. It's just I had no inclination to see. I mean, reboots are always funny. It's like eventually everything does get rebooted. Like Spider-Man got rebooted. X-Men sort of got rebooted. A lot of things have been rebooted over the years, so like, I wasn't surprised Child's Play got the end of that. But thankfully, it didn't do so well, so we got this TV show. So before I get to the proper episode review, I might as well like do my clarification. That's always with first impressions. I normally have some sort of like emotional attachment to the show, and also as I have a history and a very complex history with the overall franchise of it, could also speak to how messed up I could be, or probably not. I don't know. My mind is a very strange inner workings, as I like to describe myself. So, with me, my obviously, given how Child's Play is technically, it was released back in the 80s. My father and my mother actually got to see it in theaters when it came out. They both were, well, my mother was scared as hell out of it, and my dad was curious by it. Um, I want to say I watched Child's Play 2 on Univision, which is basically a Spanish television channel. So basically, I watched the second Child's Play, the second Chucky movie in Spanish. I was curious by it because of the way they cut the promo. And then in 2006, 7, or 8, I forgot what year it was, I asked my father, when you go to Peru, and yes, I'm technically admitting to a crime that was more than a decade ago. I asked him, can you bring back some DVDs from Peru, all 5 Child's Play movies? So it was Child's Play 1, Child's Play 2, Child's Play 3, Ride of Chucky, and Seed of Chucky at the time. And he said, sure, no problem. So 2 weeks pass, he comes over, he brings all of them. Of course, obviously, and if you, even if you bought those like illegal DVDs that people would like come randomly to restaurants or on the street and just try to sell you the latest movie on a white disc with like a freaking plastic sleeve, something around there. That's where I watched all 5 movies, and I I enjoyed them as a kid. I know honestly they're rated R, so they should be viewed by someone of my age right now, but back then definitely not. I really like them. Critically, why? Well, in terms of like as a kid, like you like mostly everything you watch, unless it's like it really really is bad. And then rewatching it when I was older, uh, one is a classic. Two was I think the best of them all. Three was okay. Bride was pretty funny. Seed was kind of okay-ish at best. And I thought that was it. Like, like Seed of Chucky came out in 2004. I distinctly still remember the posters for that movie. I actually was that was 2004. So like 2004, one of the best years for movies I think ever. You had Scooby Doo 2, you had Spider-Man 2, you had Shrek 2, you had a ton of. It was mostly a sequel fest of a year, and Seed of Chucky was one of them. I never got to see it, but I was always curious by the poster. And I think I almost asked my dad if we can go see it in theaters. I think it was a clear no. They would just not let me in because I was 7 at the time, so there was absolutely no way I was going to go in to see that movie in theaters. Sadly, I think one time my dad actually begged them to do it, but they were like, "Sir, we're just legally not able to let your little boy to go into the theater to see a freaking R-rated movie." Which I still remember that one scene where it was at the house, Jennifer Tilly's house, the actress's house, which ironically is in the franchise as another character. She was seducing one of the producers, and I understand why that movie got so much negativity because like some of the writing in that movie was like really bad, and it was basically, she, from what I remember, like she was going up against another actress for the role of the Virgin Mary in a new Christ movie, and she was trying to seduce the producer, like, uh, how does how would you know if I was a virgin or something? I'm just like, that's not gonna help you. Whatever. Let's forget about Steve Chucky, because so then 2013 came around and they announced, hey, we're making a new Chucky movie, direct to DVD, Curse of Chucky, and honestly, I did not see the movie live. Sadly, it was a direct to DVD feature, and I think this was around the time I was being a little bit more selective with my choices. I don't entirely remember when or how I saw Curse of Chucky. To be honest with you, I don't remember, but I saw the movie. I'm like, this was a return to form, back to the original trilogy days of like, this is a pure horror slasher film, and and the series creator actually returned to direct and write the movie at the same time, and it's always the best, especially like, for example, in anime movies, where if you have the original manga author like on board to like at least do some character designs, consult on the project, I think it results in a much better product. Because like, let's say, like, for example, an example, a conundrum I know, when like, for example, Seth MacFarlane left Family Guy as terms of like a more, I'm pretty sure he's still on it as a consultant, but he's not like actively involved in like the writing of every new season. He's off doing his own new projects, but he's still there. That's what I've akin to, like, the more involved the original creator is in a project, the most likely it's going to turn out to be a better flick, or a show in this case. So Curse of Chucky came out. That was a success. That was a critical success. Commercial wise, I don't really know. I don't really get into DVD sales, ironically, even though I collect a ton of DVDs. I just don't know what the margin was for that movie. But it was enough to make another sequel called Cult of Chucky, which I just saw recently because I bought the DVD for me and my dad to watch it. We just never had time to view it. So he ended up watching it on his own. He said it was pretty good as well. And then eventually I saw it, and I'm like, this was interesting. And Cult of Chucky was very much made in the sense of like, we're going to like, Curse of Chucky brought the character to the modern day, and then Cult was more like, we have really big plans for the character going forward to expand the world. And it definitely does. Like, I felt a little bit like the reforming the mythology, because the whole original premise of the film was for spoilers for the movies, and obviously we'll get to the first episode in a second. The whole premise of the original movies was that Charles Lee Ray was a serial killer, and on the day he was supposed to be captured and sent to jail and put away forever for his crimes, he transferred his soul using voodoo magic into a good guy's doll. And then he met Andy, and then the whole thing was like, okay, I'm going to put my soul into Andy's body. And that was the whole premise of the first movie. Like, that was his whole goal, and then throughout the entire trilogy. Eventually, he forgot about that original goal and said, okay, anyone will do. I just don't want to be in a doll body anymore. Then Curse of Chucky kind of like brought him back in a new sense. Like, well, maybe it's not entirely that bad to be a doll. Because it brings people, like, obviously if you look at Charles Lee Ray on the street, like, that guy's a serial killer, get him, arrest him, take him down somehow, kick his knife out of his hand and just punch him down. As a doll, he has the element of surprise, and that's one of the more the most unique factor of the franchise, in terms of when he does his kills, is that no one expects him until it's too late. And that was the draw of the original films, not really much of the middle films, and then obviously came back with Curse and Cult. So with Cult playing around the idea is like, okay, now that Charles knows, like, Chucky, now that he knows, like, it's better I stay as a doll. That way I can expand my horizons, because apparently there's another sub-layer of voodoo magic where he can split his soul via, like, Voldemort or something, into multiple good guy dolls. So it's still the same person, and it also just plays around the idea, you can kill one Chucky, but there probably is other ones out of there that we just don't know about. Because there's just a whole big stretch of time. Because remember, at the end of Seed of Chucky to Curse, a lot of years have passed. So it's like, they had time to plan this out. So honestly, who knows how many Chuckies out there in the world. And it does, and that was the play with, like, we can go anywhere with the franchise. Whether it's another movie or playing around in another medium. That was in Furling with the franchise. And then when they announced, oh, we're going to do a TV show instead, I honestly was like, put me down for this, because I always liked the character. I really did. And I thought this would be a great opportunity to, like, well, with movies, it's like, and also we're getting to that point with media where it's like, you can take the movie characters and put them in a TV setting with everyone involved from the movies, because you are able to tell a bigger story, a longer story, and they're still playing around with the idea. I mean, Disney Plus was mainly the forerunners to like, hey, let's bring in the actual original movie guys and make a show with them. And for the most part, they are working out very well. I think this is one of like, I could be wrong, but this could be like this is one of the first examples where it's not a Marvel, it's not a Marvel Disney thing. It's just Sci-Fi wanted to do the show. Universal wanted to do the show as well, and there were some scared moments like, well, if the reboot had done well, does that mean the show would have been canceled? Probably would have. They probably would have focused all the attention on the reboot, but that didn't happen, and I'm thankful for it because now to the actual review part itself. Getting to this first episode, I was initially like, okay, this was kind of a weird slow start because most shows like you got to have like a powerful bang right away at the start to kind of hook in your audience because in the age of binge watching, like 5 minutes, it's 5 minutes in or it's the whole show in. So if you lose them in the 5 minutes, you're done. And for me, it's like it definitely took like maybe around a little bit of time for like me to slowly get into the show, and then they were obviously building up the elements and getting into like, you know, how this is going to be demonstrated and performed. And honestly, you know, despite the slow start, I think they really did a fantastic job delivering a solid premiere episode, and definitely I really want to see where they're going to go with the next 7 and how this story is going to continue, because again, this is just one Chucky story. We don't know what else is out there, and I'm actually pretty down for the idea this might be an anthology show where you can have Chucky go to different places should it get renewed for season 2, / if Sci-Fi ever gets up their ass and actually renews something that isn't a freaking magician show or expand or something. I don't know what else they made in the shit channel. They canceled Krypton, they canceled Deadly Class, so I'm like, I hate you. Well, I'm back for you for now. Don't cancel it. If you cancel it, Sci-Fi, you're gonna get it. Okay, so on to the actual review. So, and also another thing to note is that I went to New York Comic Con last week, and there was a Chucky truck there. So me and my friend, she and I, we stayed in line for an entire hour. I initially thought this was just an ice cream treat shop. It wasn't. It was actually an experience where in the fictional town of Hackensack, someone stole a good guy's ice cream truck, and it turned out to be Chucky. And so I didn't get to take a picture with Chucky. What was ironic was my friend, she dressed up as Chucky, and she got so much attention from the people who worked in that booth, and everyone just wanted photos with her. And it was like, okay, it was kind of that was like one of the bad things about it, because like I would have loved to have a picture with Chucky as a promo image, but I forgot to do that. Everyone was just so thrilled with her, but I don't mind that much. But I got this newspaper as a little memento of the experience. It was actually a one-day thing, and I went on the Thursday slot. So yeah, that was a great experience. This is definitely going to be a memento going forward. But anyway, onto the review itself. So with this world specifically, immediately off the bat, like I heard interviews that this show was going to be, this is going to appeal to older fans such as myself, and the newer fans who are just like, I've heard of Chucky, but I never got into the movies. This still is very much a really great entry point for newcomers, where they tease you enough of Chucky's history, but they don't overbear you like, oh, you need to watch the other 7 movies to understand this. Why you don't. And I'm pretty sure the next 7 episodes are going to continue to refer to and then, you know, retell the history of the Chucky movies, and then also obviously tell their own new story. And it worked out actually perfectly. They don't overload us with like, oh, here's a reference from Bride or Seed or 3 or 2 or, you know, Curse or such. They don't. They give you enough to know that there's an established history with this character in this world already, but we're just giving you what you need to know for this story going on. And this is what I said about the opening 5 minutes like being a little bit weird for me, because the opening 5 minutes we see a very short, you know, camera view going up to a woman, and we presume it's going to be, you know, an opening Chucky kill, but it's not. We just cut to at a yard sale where there's a good guy doll and this kid, Jake Wheeler. So now we had the Barclays, we had the Dorsch, I forgot what Nora's family last name was. I apologize. You know, now it's the Wheelers' turn. It's their turn to like deal with Chucky's reign. It's their turn. Jake is much of an inspiring artist at the age of 13, inspired by his mom, and one of his main staples is using doll heads, ironically, to sculpt his sculptures. And he finds the Chucky doll as a potential focal point. I don't understand art. I'm sorry. I can't fake. Oh crap! Did my microphone disconnect? Okay, did not. Good. He uses that as the focal point for his sculptures, and that's kind of how the plot begins. So I forgot to say the show set in Hackensack. I said this so many times. So a key thing that every Chucky property has, there's always had that main tie-in to Charles's history. Chuck, the first three movies, obviously with Andy's connection. The next two were kind of like just his past with Tilly, a love interest he had when he was a serial killer at his heyday, and then the latest two movies with Nora being his biological daughter he had with another ex-girlfriend he had like moments before he transferred his soul to another body, that he had a daughter. Either she was about to be born or she was just born. I forgot when the timeline was for it. And that was the thing. So for this show, the tie-in, at least for this first season, who knows where, if it does do more, if it's successful, where it goes from there. The tie-in for Charles's history this time is this is his hometown. This is where he grew up, and ironically, I'm pretty sure this is the story of how Charles Lee Ray became one of the world's infamous serial killers. This is basically that story, where I'm pretty sure via flashbacks we will get moments of like how did Charles become most like a sweet innocent boy to one of the most deadliest murders. We're gonna see that story, and as much as like a lot of people don't like it when like they purposely expand a franchise by purposely putting in unnecessary origin stories or putting in unnecessary complex stories that doesn't really help the character, just meant to like give them more background. I'm curious to see how they're gonna do with Charles' story, because I'm actually curious, like, to be that demented and part of my language, fucked up. There has to be some like, what is the cataclysm of him being innocent to now a murderer? I want to know. I personally want to know, and thankfully this show will tell that story, and that's one of the key things I was hoping for out of this story, because you're gonna give us 8 hours of content, you got to put in his story at some point, and thankfully they. We don't get too much of a tease of it. It's merely, I'm jumping around here, but just the ending shot already proved like that's the way they're gonna tell this story. Hopefully not in the sense of like every opening and ending shot is just a part of it. Hopefully we will maybe get a flashback heavy episode down the line. Who knows? We'll see how that does. But mostly in Jake Wheeler's world, he lives in this small town with his dad. His mother passed away years ago due to a car accident. His father, typical 21st century father who is struggling even in a small town that I'm pretty sure wouldn't be that expensive to live in. But so that means it says a lot that he is really struggling. He doesn't 100% support his son because his son is an artist, which is a very difficult profession to get into, because there are moments where you probably won't get to pay your bills and you need to live and survive. And also the other thing is they didn't really clarify this till like, I think I knew of it, but they didn't drop the hints till like the second half of it. He's gay. He came out as gay a while ago, and his father is sadly not one of the most accepting peoples. He tends to like brush it off to the side, really. And even I thought like the beginning episodes, like beginning moments, the first 20 minutes, his cousin Junior, which ironically was one of my given names as a kid, so that'll be easy for me to remember. He calls him gay, and I thought that was just like a very like, okay, come on, are we really gonna go with these insults in 2021? But no, he actually is gay. That's why he said it, and it's like, oh, that makes sense. So never mind. He also has his uncle and his aunt, which ironically his father and his uncle are twins, so they look the same, and it kind of makes sense because if you're gonna bring in Devin Sawa, you're gonna want to like really use him, but also like give him like a moment to like get a Chucky kill. I'm sorry to spoil that, but this is what's in the tube. You're gonna get spoiled at some point down the line. And then we of course we obviously this is a teenage show, so like we gotta go. And I was like, okay, another high school show, because like I'm already reviewing Stargirl, and like I don't mind that, I love Stargirl, but it's like, am I really gonna do it for high school? And like, no, they're in middle school, and I'm like, great, because I have a lot. I don't even think I've talked about my middle school experience from this show, and I'm, oh my god, hopefully we get picked up, I'm like, get ready for a ton of stories from that time period. And in his school world, he has a friend, also crush, probably former best friend, who runs a mystery detective podcast, which deals with the happenings of Hackensack and what kind of crazy stuff has happened back in its heyday. You have Junior's girlfriend, who is your typical rich, stuck-up girl who thinks they deserve everything. That usual trope and everything. Am I forgetting anyone else? No, bro, those are your really core everyone. You just have a bunch of like filler characters in there that obviously the core focus is just everyone I said before. They're the core focus there. So there you go there. But the thing that I've also, by the way, I forgot to mention this. I was gonna really hate myself. I forgot to mention this. Shout out to the cat for being the first one to know. I don't know what the fuck this doll is. It's evil. It's dark. It needs to get the fuck out of my house. And sad to say, the cat was the first victim, and I'm like, damn. I shouldn't. I'm gonna hug my cat when I'm done with this review. I'm gonna hug him because like I know there's no real serial killer doll in the loose, but I'm just saying I want to hug my cat right now. I really want to hug him. I'll give credit where credit is due. Like definitely this was a slow burn to get to the inevitable reveal that Chucky is Chucky, and in similar Andy fashion that he doesn't wait too long to reveal himself. Yeah, he's not normal. He's not a doll. He's a freaking human soul in a freaking toy body. It doesn't take that long for the dots to get connected. But we have some time to like, we don't really like, we want to identify Jake as like a protagonist first in his world before we start like really piling in on the Chucky stuff. Between what his school life is like, which basically he gets picked on by everyone, even his own cousin, even his cousin's girlfriend. Everyone just doesn't like him. Well, not everyone. Maybe like 98% of the student body probably hates him. Even to the point where like, and this is kind of mean, and I'm so thankful no one did this back in middle school for me. The Junior's girlfriend literally made a GoFundMe because all Jake basically said was, I'm just going to sell the doll. Like, obviously the doll's worth a lot of money because it's a vintage toy. In that universe, but then in terms of her, it's like, oh, I know he's poor, I know his dad is struggling, this could be a joke. And I'm like, dude, this middle school girl, I'm pretty sure like I can't do it's gonna be a freaking ride to freaking watch middle school again. It's gonna be weird, for me at least, and probably not anyone else going on. And I give this credit because Don Martini, who was the creator, only directed this episode, and he knows Chucky by heart. He knows every camera shot, every angle, every trick in the book he used to kind of like demonstrate his movement was just perfect. It was really, and I'm really hoping that the next line of directors who take over for the rest of the show are going to continue that trope, because like there's like the one thing that makes the entire franchise work are those camera angles and like those shots, because those really sell the scenes. And throughout this entire episode, they sell it. They just really sell it. My favorite scene, the highlight, was the auditorium scene where this was after. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention the first veteran cameo. Well, he's part of the main cast, but we haven't seen him physically yet. One of the veterans, obviously, the Andy Barclay himself, makes a voice cameo for now. He'll be on the show eventually. Stay tuned. Because once Jake lists Chucky on there, Andy immediately calls him, just letting him know, hey, your doll, is it saying it's Chucky? Is it saying like very abnormal things? Like, is something up with it? And honestly, that was really cool to see. And like, we can honestly do like a whole show based on Andy, like Andy and his adventures around the world trying to find Chucky. That would be a fun season 2 or a fun spin-off, and it could still be Chucky. It's just Andy's side of things, just communicating with new kids, new like people that are just about to experience their Chucky experience, while he's been a veteran like for so many years, not years, decades of this. That would be a fun idea to explore. But the auditorium scene was definitely my favorite, because not only did it reveal Chucky basically revealed himself to the school, but only Jake really knew of his intentions. And also we got hints of like, future conflicts that Junior's girlfriend, the popular girl, is secretly dating another kid. Also, I just love the way Chucky said Pokemon porn. I heard him say Pokemon porn. I don't know why. It's like I never knew I needed to hear that line in my life. I didn't. Revealing that also that Junior's mom, Jake's aunt, might have a secret affair with someone. Who knows really who? And then there was like that one girl. I think it's her sister, the popular girl's sister. She's just staring at Chucky way too long, and it's just like, it's like a fascination. I'm like, oh no, no, he inspired someone else. Oh, great. But the ending, which was pretty tragic, was that Jake and his father's like last moment together was an argument. Was Jake's father like rejecting that he was gay, and also the fact that he punched his own son, and that was the last thing that he did to him before Chucky killed him. And I felt that was bad because like again, I have a close relationship with my dad, and like that would never happen between us. But like if that was to happen to him and that was the last thing we said to each other, like I would be filled with so much remorse. Like I would have told him I love you, or like, you know, be supportive, or you know, or vice versa, like for that to be the ending. Like despite the status of their relationship, even there was like one point where like his dad got drunk and he destroyed his statue, and I'm just like, dude, that's like getting rejection from your parent. Like you can get rejected from friends, from other people, because you know they're randoms, like they're, you know, they're not, they have no connection to you. But then when it comes to your own blood, and them betraying you or them rejecting you, that hurts the most, and that's going to leave an impact on you. So to have that be Jake's last experiences with his dad is like, I feel so bad for him, I really do. And just the ending shot of like just what kind of conversation these two are gonna have, like Jake and Chucky. Like, what's different is that before, like Chucky with Andy was just trying to convince him, oh don't worry, my soul's gonna go into you, so we're gonna be best friends forever. I forgot about Bride and Scene. They were just trying to find random hosts, and then Kirsten called the psychological mind games to make Nora weak enough to allow her to accept Chucky into her. So him here, he definitely wants to train Jake to be a killer like him. I think that's the angle they want to play it as, because they both are not normal. They're both not normal people, and he's gonna play on that angle, and that's gonna be what kind of games and, you know, mind games he's gonna play with Jake throughout the entire show. And that's the thing. Like with a movie, you only have 2 hours, so it's like already most of your time is, you know, in setup, and then you get a little to actually get the impact going. This having 7 more hours to go, I really want to see what dynamic they're gonna have, and what Jake is actually, is he gonna listen to him? Is he gonna be like more creeped out for him? Like I'm actually curious. And also when you get to the veterans coming in, like, you know, Andy and Tiffany, Nora, I think Kyle from Child's Play 2 or 3 is gonna make an appearance too. Just the amount of people they're gonna bring in, it's gonna be curious to see how, you know, their return is going to like impact what Jake is going through and what this town's about to go through, because believe me or not, it's going to be a bloodbath. It really is. And I can't wait to see how this entire story ends, because like whenever Chucky comes involved, it's never a happy ending. Like it's like it's a victory, but it's not a happy ending. It definitely was never earned. And I hope this show continues that tradition. It really, as they continue to expand the Chucky universe. So for me, I highly recommend the premiere. I highly recommend this as a show. I can't wait to see the next 7 episodes throughout the next 7 weeks, and, you know, see how this is going to perform. I really hope this show, you know, brings in the views and brings in the ratings, and I just want the show to go on, because having so many breaks between Chucky, I would be down to get a Chucky season every other year. This is definitely not like a let's do it in one year, every year type thing. It doesn't. They need all the TLC it needs, but I really hope this show does go on for a while, and this definitely, you know, gets it, because right now we're on a great start already. So, or also in my books, 2 thumbs up. That's my recommendation system. Let me know in the comments below. What did you think of the premiere episode of Chucky? I'm down for conversation down below, because my other friends that do watch Chucky have not seen the show yet, or they have texted me about it. So I'm basically alone on that front. My tea is cold. So I think that's going to do it for me. So if you're unaware, this has been What's in the Tube, doing a first impressions of Chucky. If you want to be understood once again, is that this is a pilot episode for a potential Chucky review series, even though I'm currently doing 5 episode review series, which I'll list off in a bit. I really I would love to do episode by episode breakdown of Chucky every week, even though it'll probably kill my brain and kill my mind. I would be willing to do it, but it all depends on your support. So please, like, favorite, share this review if you want to, and share it with a lot of people. Other Chucky fans out there who have yet to experience me. Also, the claim the YouTube algorithm system is broken, and also sharing is for free here on the interweb, so no excuse there. Just support. That's all I'm asking for. Because to put a 6 review series on the schedule it needs to be worth it. Even though the story's there, I got to make sure the time is worth it. So please support, and please share as you can. Spread the word. But normally, once of the tube, besides our first impressions, currently we're doing DC Stargirl Season 2 episode reviews each and every Wednesday mornings, normally after brand episode, on Tuesday nights on the CW. We're doing Doom Patrol Season 3 episode reviews each and every Friday morning after brand episode, on Thursdays on HBO Max. We're doing Nancy Drew Season 3 episode reviews each and every Saturday morning after brand episode on Friday nights on the CW, or free the next day on the CW app. We're also doing the Rookie Season 4 episode reviews each and every Monday mornings after a brand new episode on Sunday nights on ABC or on Hulu the next day. And we're also doing Heels reviews each and every Tuesday mornings, normally after a brand new episode on Sunday nights on Stars. But if you don't care about Chucky, again, please support, share the video, share this review. Let's get the voice out there. If we hit a certain criteria, we'll do more. Regardless of the schedule, I'll have to update it again, but we'll see. We'll see how that all goes. We'll see. Everything's up in the air right now. It's also a very busy time. October's a very busy month for me, because this year specifically, since we're doing all these things, and honestly. But however, if we do not get picked up for a full review series, do not fret. We will be back in 8 weeks for a Chucky Season 1 review. I will. The thing is that even with first impressions, even if we don't get picked up, like we did with Monsters at Work, and what we're about to do with Turner and Hooch, and then upcoming Titan Season 3, is that even though we might not get picked up for full runs, we will still review the whole season at the very end of the season when it finishes airing. So at least we could try again next season, or whatever the case might be. So, but again, so you will hear from me again. We will talk about Chucky again. I prefer week to week, but if it, in any case might be, I'll see you in about 2 months. But again, this has been Once of the Tube from ActionX. Please subscribe to us on youtube.com/ActionX video. Ring that bell for a notification when our next video is live. Follow us on social media to stay up to date with any sort of updates for the channel. But until then, hopefully we get to see each other very soon. But however, if not, stay safe out there. Be good to each other. Again, let me know how you think of the premiere down below. And as always, peace out.